Alright, so here we are. Welcome everyone and a very good evening here at WOR PCF4, where tonight in Tier 4 we might see a champion crowned. There are still 2 races to go here on the calendar, so let's quickly move over to that calendar to see how everything went down, and then I'll quickly take you through the standings. As you can see, just one screen here tonight. It'll be a solo cast. But we should be all good for a wonderful race here around the streets of Jeddah. So this is how far we've come. We started off in Australia. Remember that amazing season opener where the top 2 was only separated by 1,000th of a second. Definitely one of the best ways to kick off a season. Then we went on through Austria, followed by Belgium, Sao Paulo, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Italy. Then we had Bahrain, Mexico City last week. This week is Saudi, and next week the season finale will be in Japan. Now with all that, we have the following standing. There's only 2 people that can still fight for the championship. Those are DV19 and Tim Tornimo. DV19's on 150 points. Only finished outside of the podium 3 times with 2 4th places, one in Austria, one in Qatar, and a DNF in Monza. And then in second the standings, it's Tim Tornimo, who's had a little bit of a sloppy start. The first 3 races, 12th, 6th, and a DNF. But ever since 6 races in a row, he's gotten at least a podium with a first, a third, a second, and now 3 third places in a row as he looks to take that championship fight to Japan. Because at the moment, DV19's 150, sorry. Tim Tornimo is on 111, meaning the gap is 39 points. And with the points that we can still get for fastest lap and such, means that in order for DV19 to clinch the title, he needs to have over 25 points in the lead, and then he will be crowned the champion. So needs to, well, he doesn't even need to outscore Tim Tornimo, just needs to make sure that he finishes within a place or 2, and then he will be all fine and good to claim that title. And I believe we have both of our competitors here in the race tonight. So let me quickly move over to the game. Looks like we have 18 people in the lobby. Tim Tornimo is indeed there. DV19 is also there, so that looks all fine. And yes, indeed, Marcel, it will be a solo cast for tonight, so I'll try to have some breaks in between, so it still feels like I'm not non-stop talking, and to sort of make it feel like a duo cast, even though it is one voice, just one voice for tonight. But yeah, we'll be driving in Saudi Arabia. We will be having first our qualifying session, then a race of 25 laps. The track, of course, with the highest average speed all the way through. I believe it's somewhere 152 kilometers an hour. That should roughly translate to about 150 miles, I believe. But I should quickly get my notes up to give you some extra information, as I can currently see we are being loaded into the game. There we go, there are my notes. So, yeah, so about Jeddah. It's a Jeddah Kurdish street circuit, average speed of 245 kilometers an hour or 151 miles per hour, so it's quite close on top of my head, not bad. 6.175 kilometers or 3.837 miles, and it's located 12 kilometers north of the city center of Jeddah. It's a track with 27 turns, an awful lot of turns, and 3 DRS zones. 1 DRS zone. The exit of turn 17 is your detection zone, and then after the exit of turn 19, so after the right-left-hander, you will have that first DRS zone, then detection just before turn 22 with a zone exit of turn 25, that is after the left-right-hander, and then of course a detection point just before your final turn, and then the start-finish straight will be your final DRS zone. And as you can hear in the background, the cars are starting to make some noises. And it's Gabriele Stella who is the first one out on track, as we are going to get all the information enabled so we can see what is going on. 19 drivers that we have. Pole lap time in F3 was a 1:26.575. A lot of people were very surprised about that. That was set by Lewis Walker, but we're hoping to see some of these drivers come somewhat close to that. I think we should be aiming for 26.7s, 26.8s. Those should be lap times that these drivers can match. And yeah, who should we watch out for? Well, definitely one to watch out for who's quick in quali. Oliver Knott at times. Lewis Jones also not too bad. F1 racers done quite well as well. Picard has also done good qualies. Tim, I think, has been up there from time to time. And I think that is about it when it comes to the drivers usually fighting for pole. But looks like Gabriela has been overtaken, I think. Well, it's not Meow, it must have been his teammate then. Teammate, indeed, Milena will be the first one to take it to the track. So let's go on board with Milena as she crosses the turn into turn 27 and hammer it down the straight. So down the straight she goes. She takes a little bit of a wider line towards the right. That is, of course, to maximize top speed. Make sure the straight is as long as possible when you get that entry. That is a very smooth first two turns. Taking as lot of curb as possible. Not getting any track limits. Track limits, again, a thing that drivers have to be very wary of. But so far, the line Milena's taken seems to be quite clean. So let's keep that up. Pretty decent speed coming through that first sector now towards the end of the first sector. And the time that we see on the board is the 31.9. Not bad at all as we go into the hard left-hander. Going into fourth. Some drivers up for fifth. Lena goes through in fourth as we now head towards the first DRS section. This is where the detection point was. We go right, we go left. A little bit of understeer there. And now we are in our DRS zone. That is going to appear right here. DRS is open. And then we go to one of the fastest corners here in this track. This is where it's also easy to pick up track limits. And Milena had to lift there. Slightly overshot the turn as we're now already in sector 3. Second DRS zone now coming up. And we're heading into the hard braking zone of turn 27. Take it close, a little bit too wide. Seemed a little laggy. Milena has mentioned in the chat that she's having some fiber issues, but she's going to come across the line, and it will be a 27.5. Not the lap time that she perhaps was hoping for, so we will see some drivers improve on that as we're currently watching one of our championship competitors in Tim Tornimo as Lewis Jones. Oliver Knott now goes quickest, 27.0. That's a big 3/10 chunk out of everyone's lap time, so great job by the Red Bull driver so far, as Tim Tornimo is now making his way down the final corner, taking a very close line, minimizing track distance he has to take, and of course maximizing his lap time. As a result, with a big slide, almost doing a Verstappen 21 there, but he keeps it out of the wall quite miraculously, but it does cost him an awful lot of lap time, and does put him in P11 for the time being. As we further go down the line, is now in sector 3. Meow's coming across the line, goes into third place so far. Pick Lexer still on for a lap. Dowling McTeer's invalidated. And it looks like Epic will be the first one to cross. But 106 seems to be quite off, and indeed will be quite off, diving it into the pit lane. So it will just be Aiden. There he comes on his way across the line. P14, 27.8. Looks like the track still needs a bit of track evolution. But so far the driver doing really well. Oliver Knott almost 3/10 clear the entire pack. So a good start for him. We now see more drivers return to the pit. Although Alexi is now out on track for his outlap. Taking his sweet time there. Justin Chevalier has also gone out. But I believe both drivers did invalidate on their first hot lap. Means that they have to go for another attempt a little earlier on, so they can do 4 runs in total. Most other drivers likely will be doing 3 unless given the time to do a 4th one. This is the corner I love. Go so close to the wall, send it out on the exit, This is the best sector here. This is the best bit. The end of Sector 2 and the start of Sector 3. Those are the areas that you want to watch here at the Jeddah Kearney Street Circuit. So high speed. Look at that. That was a beautiful line, even though, of course, he wasn't going flat out. But that is what you need to have on your hot lap. As it looks like more drivers have crossed the line. Meow's actually now going into the pit. Aiden will do so as well, so we're going to go back to Alexi. Let's go on board once more. Taking a very wide line there to send it down to the straight. Does that very well. No wheel spin whatsoever. Keep it as far right as you possibly can, which Alexi does. And here we go. Hot lap is on. There we are. As he now hard brakes into turn 1. Slightly overshoots there. So not the ideal line that we saw Milena take there, but still a strong start to his first real time flyer. That turn was really good. Oh, got a little bit of oversteer out on the curb there. Curb a little bit higher, so you can't go on the throttle all that early. So his first sector definitely compromised. Another moment of oversteer there. As Alexi's now going to the end of Sector 1. Indeed, there's a 10th down on Milena's lap time that we saw earlier, but that is down in P8. Almost half a second down on your pole lap time. But Sector 1 is not usually the time where it's all found. Sector 2 and 3, those are the key moments, as Alexi does not take that first right left-hander all that smoothly, as he now makes his way up to the end of Sector 2. That will be a 1-3. Pretty decent left-right-hander. Making his way down the second DRS zone, and just like Tim Tornemo is going to keep that close, so he knows how he needs to drive on this track. Just needs to make sure he can find those ideal lines with good braking. Slide oversteer, but does get it quite close to the wall, so that is good. But on exit, a little bit further to the wall than he would have liked. But here he comes. Across the line, Alexi goes, and he does go into provisional P5. So not a bad lap at all there from the man in the Williams. We then have Justin Chevalier, 2 10s down, and at lap time we just saw Alexi do, and across the line will indeed be 2 10s down. Dallin McTeer also on the lap, just started. Epic Lexer has invalidated, so we will watch and see what Dallin McTeer does, although Oliver Nutt has also started a lap. So let's see if he's going to improve, because he is the driver that so far nobody has been able to touch, and I'm quite curious to see how quickly he goes through that first sector, because that is a lot of risk he took there. And look at that, he is actually half a 10 down, but a 31.7, that is a blistering first sector as he completely loses it. Keeps it out of the wall though, but that is lap time over for Oliver Nutt. As we now watch Dallin McTeer continue. 31.8 in the first sector as well, not too shabby whatsoever. Now makes his way down, that's a 1.2, so a 1 minute 2. Behind the dot, that is a 10th quicker than we saw Alexi do, so might be on for third or even second place here if he can keep it together nicely in this final sector. Needs to have a good entry and good exit. Slightly overshoots here as well, so not the most ideal exit, but still looks a little bit quicker than we saw the Williams driver do earlier on. Is it quick enough though? No, it's only P7, so did lose a little bit of time there in the final sectors. Dennis Langrog is currently on with a flyer. Almost 1 minute dead through that second sector. Now that should be on for 27.1. So if he can keep it together here in that final turn, he could be on for a great lap. And that is how you want to take that final turn. He is going to get very close to that lap time of Oliver Nutt. Make sure you don't invalidate. He doesn't. Is it enough for pole? It is just not. It's 0.02 of a second that Dennis Langrock comes shy. But that is a great run from him. Only sadly, just not enough. As Meow is currently also a little bit quicker. Does almost go a little bit too wide there. But is up by 33 thousandths of a second. Might not seem like much, but that is already enough to jump 2 places. Can he improve just a tad more through that final sector? Last corner coming through. Also good line there. Nice exit. As he now makes his way to the start-finish line. Is it enough to improve some extra places? Meow comes across the line. P3. That's a 10th gained in that final sector. That is well done by our Haas driver. The first out of the Haas is Milena, finding herself in P8. 2:08 so far, as I'm quickly going to go further down the line to see what the other drivers are doing. Matteo is not on a hot lap so far. Dallin has invalidated. Tim Tornimo down 7/10 in that first sector. Kevin West has also invalidated. Some more drivers on out laps. I don't think anyone is currently on a quick lap, because Milena is also not on a quick one. Seeing the place she is on the track. And of course the battery levels. Lewis Jones was, and he comes through in P5 for now. So drivers getting quite a bit closer to Oliver Nutt. It looks like the track is definitely evolving. Let us know in the chat what you think the pole lap time is going to be. But I think, judging by what the drivers are doing, seeing how much they improve, I think 0.8s and 0.9s are definitely on the cards here. So far, the first lap of Oliver Nutt is still the quickest with a 1:27.077. But Dennis Langrock only 2 thousandths shy of that pole lap time. Drivers now making their way into the pits. Oliver Nutt actually leaving the pit lane already, as it looks like Mouchard is... No, he's at the start of the second sector. It looked like he was a little bit further down the lap, but he was not really. Justin Chevalier a little bit further down the line, but not the first one, as that seems to be Epic Lexer, unless I missed Oliver Nutt. And he has indeed started his lap, so let's go on board with him, because his first sector seemed to be the quickest one out there, as he does have an awful lot of oversteer into that first corner. Does go a little bit too much over the curbs as a result in turn 2, but still looks to go through this corners as fast as possible, as he seems to have a lot of oversteer, really swinging it in, but he has a pretty good lap time to build on. Let's see if he can keep it clean. He has invalidated there just a little bit too far. He would have been quicker, but yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's not enough for now, as he did invalidate there, but here comes Epic Lexer then. He gets a 31.8 as well, so about the 10th down on what Oliver Nutt was able to do in so far the fastest first sector. It's also Epic goes through in 4th through that long left-hander, now making his way into the switchback situation. That is the wall. Now we realize that would have been a straight up DNF, car broken. Of course, in the game here, he's still able to continue, but he's lost by half a second there. This corner was a little bit better, but not ideal so far either. Justin Chevalier then, he's actually quite a bit quicker in that first sector. 31.9, not too bad whatsoever. As it looks like Alexi has come through in 3rd place, getting awful close. Justin Chevalier invalidates, as he did set a purple 2nd sector, so was on for quite a good run. As now going to try and see Dallin McTeer, big slide coming out of that fast sector 1, but manages to keep it out of the wall. Mouchard has also invalidated, although his sector time seemed to be quite good. Looks like he has some time to gain in that 3rd sector. Aiden then has also backed out of it. So let's keep an eye on DV19 instead then. Actually, Tim Tornimo should be on for a lap in a moment as well. Here he goes. Let's go on board with Tim. Remember, he is one of the drivers that is still in that championship fight. The fight that he is sharing together with DV19, currently in P5. And that is not the best of first 2 corners that Tim Tornimo's put up so far. Now that into the left, a little wide as well, has invalidated as well. It looks like Tim struggling to string it together for now with 3 minutes left on the clock. I hope he has enough fuel in that car. Loses it. That's front wing gone. That's quali over. There will not be enough time, I think, to get that car back into the pit lane. And that's it. That's quali for Tim Tornimo. He's going to start towards the back of the grid. He has halted... well, actually, his championship rival, who's backed out of it, seemingly. So he won't be improving on that lap time either, as more and more drivers are heading into the pits. Let's see if Epic is on for a lap. He has also invalidated. So most drivers, if not all, will be entering the pit. Some are already leaving. Looks like Matteo is about to leave the pits. But we're now going to get ready for our final runs. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. pole time for now. Provisional pole still that first time set by Oliver Knott. Has had 2 attempts at it, but invalidated both of them. Now he will have 1 more attempt to go at it, but Dennis Langrock and Alexi are getting awfully close. I think even Meow will have a good shot at it, although I'm curious to see what DV19 does. He's backing off early, so it might be that he is going for a run straight away. Should have the fuel for it, and that means that with an extra cooldown lap, he's going to go for it. And there we get the confirmation. Tim Tornimo has exited. Yeah, he mentioned he spun. Alexi has also aborted, so he won't be improving. Currently in P3 though, so that is quite solid. But what can your championship leader do now? He is in a... Ooh, yeah, that's lap gone. Went too wide there. Had to back out of it, otherwise we've gone track limits. And he will likely exit now as well. Will be no higher than 5th place. Then, let's see, further down the line, looks like Milena is the one to lead that queue. After that, it is Matteo, followed by, I believe, one of the Williams drivers. That must then be Aiden. And the Kick Sauber of Gabriela Stella, not too far behind either, but we should keep an eye on the drivers that are currently fighting for that provisional, well, the definite pole position. We had a prediction of a 1:26.887 in the chat. So let's see how close these drivers can get to that. And it looks like Meow and Lewis Jones have started their lap times. Let's see first if Milena can improve. It's about 3/10 down on a pole position here tonight. And that first sector is quite decent. Half a tenth up in the first sector. That is a great, great way to start for Milena. For Meow then, let's see what he can do in that first sector. Now about to end it. Needs to have a little bit of an improvement. Has one. Only 0.07 of a second. As for Lewis Jones, he is now making his way. Look at that. 1/10.5. Lewis Jones currently flying through the track. Currently on a provisional pole if he can keep that together. Now Milena continues. Seems to be off by just a little bit as DV19 now exits into the pit as well. Milena will be the first one across the line, but will not be contesting for pole. Meow has invalidated, so he's out of it. Lewis Jones seems to be our prime contestant to get that. Dennis Langrock still in it. Oliver Knott with a purple first sector. There are so many drivers still fighting for it. But first, Lewis Jones will be the one crossing the line first. Dennis Langrock has invalidated, so he won't do it. So it will be between Lewis Jones and Oliver Knott. First up, Lewis Jones. Now coming through the final corner. Slightly overshoots it there. Not the best of exits, but here we go. Cross the line. Will be getting close. Will he beat the time? He will. It is provisional pole for Lewis Jones, and Oliver Knott is invalidated. He was up by 2/10, but Oliver Knott invalidates, and that will not be a pole position for him. Picarchis is invalidated. F1 Racer invalidates. Dallin Mateer is still on for a run together with Kevin West. But first, Dallin Mateer. He's up by 2/10, but that will not be enough to take that pole position here tonight. So it looks to be going to Ferrari. Dallin Mateer, 5th though. Great, great final run. And here comes Kevin West. Does improve, but only to P15. And with that, we have our grid decided. Pole position for Lewis Jones. Oliver Knott in 2nd. Then followed by Dennis Langrock, Alexi Covero, and Dallin Mateer in P5. Great run from him at the end, but Oliver Knott must be kicking himself. He had pole position on the cards. Would have gone for a 26.8, but did invalidate in that second sector. Sad for him to see, but not for your Ferrari man, who's looking very, very cheerful here on your left-hand side. He takes pole position ahead of the top 5 aforementioned. Then it's Meow in P6, followed by DV19, your championship leader in 7th. Then it's Aiden, Justin Chevalier, and Matteo Blotto. Then outside the top 10, we find Gabriela Stella, Picarchit, Milena, F1 Racer, Kevin West, Mouchoir, Tim Tornimo in P17, Epic Lexer, and then Alessandro Poi in P19. But your championship competitors, P7 and P17, 10 slots separating them. Not the ideal times at all. So that means we have time for a little break just to recover from that, because we will require a lobby restart to change the settings so that the cars will no longer be ghosted and we can be slipstreaming as per usual. Pretty good qualifying session. Lewis Walker should be very delighted with that. Lewis Jones, sorry, because Lewis Walker, as I just mentioned, was your pole sitter in Tier 3. And now we have another Lewis pole sitter here in Tier 4. So looks to be a night of the Lewises here in Jeddah. Let's see if he can continue with that shortly after, as we hear the lights in the background. But that is, of course, for that restart, which will happen momentarily, meaning we have a couple of minutes. But yeah, for your championship competitors, not the qualifying session they were hoping for, but that gives us a little bit of time to take another look at the standings. So for the standings, in first, and the man who can take it all here tonight, DV19, 150 points to his name. First place was for him in Austria. That was won by 1,000 of a second over F1 Racer. Then it was fourth in Austria, his worst finishing result, followed by P2 in Belgium, P3 in Brazil, and another P4 in Qatar. But after that, it was pretty much only uphill, with another race win in Abu Dhabi. Sadly DNF'd out in Monza, but a second place in Bahrain and last week out win in Mexico puts him at 150 points, 39 ahead of Tim Ternimo, who, as we mentioned, had a, well, I would not say disastrous start to the season, but had a slow start to the season. 12th place in Australia, with a 6th in Austria and a DNF in Belgium, but only uphill since then. A race win is only in Brazil, followed by 3rd place in Qatar, 2nd for him in Abu Dhabi, and then the last 3 races, Monza, Bahrain, and Mexico, all finished in P3. But yeah, he is now 39 points down to DV19. 10 points behind, or 10 places behind on the grid, P17. Not the most ideal start for him whatsoever, and he needs to outscore DV19 quite significantly or it will be over. Needs to finish at least P4 to even keep his championship dreams alive. But for that, if he finishes in P... Is P4 enough even? No, he needs to finish in P3. Even if he does finish in P3, DV19 can't finish higher than 10th, so DV19 is in a pretty comfortable spot so far, and he needs at least a 4th place in order to take the title, so needs to gain only 3 places to take the title here in Saudi Arabia tonight. So those 2 drivers will be the ones that we're watching. Currently see yet another loading screen, so let's hope that is for loading into the race, but no, it is for going back into the lobby, meaning we have yet another bit of time to see what will happen, and it means I can give you some extra information here about this track. I already mentioned some of the basic statistics. We'll go over those again. So your average speed, 245 kilometers an hour, 151 miles per hour if you're British, 6.175 kilometers long, 3.837 miles, again, for your British folks out there. At the track located 12 kilometers north of the city center of Jeddah, where, of course, we had a little barrage of rockets not too long ago when we were racing there. I believe 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, has been already. The track, 27 turns, most out of any track on the calendar, 3 DRS zones. That is not the most 2 tracks be with 4, but the 3 DRS zones, 1 the exit of turn 17, that is just before your right-left-hander. Coming out of that is your first DRS zone. We have your second DRS zone after the left-right-hander with the detection just before that. And then finally, detection point just before your final turn, turn 27, with the zone leading up to the start-finish straight and leading up into the braking zone of turn 1. Your pit lane time was tonight 23 seconds that we can see, and even though it is very, very uncommon to get any rain here, we have seen it in online races before, although I will not, I do not expect that to happen. I think the chances are, below 3%, perhaps even lower than that, so very uncommon for that to happen. But the most important thing, how many laps will we have tonight? There will be 25 laps that we'll have against Saudi Arabia, here in Saudi Arabia. So not an extremely long race due to the high-speed nature of this track, but with a one-stop strategy, I think most drivers will be starting on the mediums to get a good start here. But yeah, with the walls being so close, also easy to make mistakes. So the drivers really need to make sure they keep it on the track. But given that there is a good chance for mistakes, safety cars come out quickly as well. So it will not be uncommon if we see one or maybe even two safety cars here tonight. And that might also affect the strategies of the drivers. So let's see how that is all going to pan out. The drivers in the chat are already saying it's going to be an absolute mess. T1 is going to be crazy. A chance of terrorism, 100%. Of course, referring to the drivers hitting each other and putting themselves out of contention. So it looks like they're not all too hopeful. But looks like our host has said already, steady go, so we're waiting for everyone to ready up. Then we will be loading in. Then we will wait for our drivers to load into the setup. So in about 2 minutes from now, we will be going live with the red lights. So if you still need a drink, just like I do, make sure you get one now. Get hydrated, get yourself a snack. Because for the next 40 or so minutes, you'll be strapped in with this race here for Tier 4. And you're about to find out whether the title tonight is going to go to DV19 or if we're going to have a last race showdown in Japan between Tim Tornimo and DV19. Just making sure to not do any product placement there, so we take a little sip. Of course, needing a little bit more than I usually would, as I will be talking quite a bit more. And also, I've been talking quite non-stop. If you'd like me to have a little bit more variation, do let me know in the chat as well. But I'll make sure to keep the show going here tonight, and that if a champion is to be crowned here tonight, that we will be here to see it. In the meantime, we are loading into the lobby. You quickly see, because there was a chance of one of the Tier 3 drivers, Tier 3 commentators, sorry, joining. But it looks like they're either not done or not available, but it looks like we're about to get ready for the race. Let's already switch to the in-game view so you can see what is all happening there. Quite dark out here in Saudi, of course. One of the night races, not the first. That honor goes to Singapore. Which we saw, of course, yesterday being driven in the real world. Quite a decent race, although pretty strong display by one of the drivers for the McLaren manufacturer, who is also here leading the championship. Only here leading the Drivers' Championship, and of course not the Constructors' Championship, although I don't think he is too far from that either. The main focus will be on two drivers tonight, as I mentioned so many times before, and will mention time and time again tonight. It is a showdown between Tim Tornimo in the Kick Sauber, 111 points to his name, and DV19, your McLaren driver, on 150 points, 39 points ahead of his next competitor. And here we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and fire at lights! And we're on our way. Quickly off the line goes the Ferrari. It looks like Oliver Nutt will not be beating him to the line there. And he immediately covers him off. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. Did the Red Bull driver lose a front wing end plate there? There definitely is some damage for one of the drivers. But is it a Red Bull or not? I can't see for sure. Let's see if we would. Yes, it is a front wing end plate gone for Oliver Nutt. So that will, well, it will force him into the pits almost straight away. But looks like all the other drivers have come through nicely through the first sector so far. Let's make sure that we get our details on board so we can see what is all happening. The telemetry we will keep on as well. And it looks like Pekarčić has gained some nice positions along with Gabriela Stella. 4 gain for Kevin West as well. As a WOR start out there for Aiden, who's dropped 5. As F1 Racer has now gone past him. 7, 8 positions dropped. Aiden is quickly tumbling down the order. That might mean some damage, and he has indeed lost his front wing. So he's dropped down to the back of the grid. Has he actually lost? Has he lost a front wing end plate? No. He just ghosted out. Might have DC'd then. But that is sad to see for him all come together. But here we go then. Let's quickly take a look at the tires. That is your main information for tonight. One driver on the soft, that's Milena. Now we have 4 drivers in the hards. Justin Chevalier, Gabriele Stella, Adeo Blotto, and championship competitor Tim Tornimo. The rest of the field on mediums. And it looks like Oliver Nutt will be continuing so far. But down the inside, it is the Racing Bull coming through. But, oh, very nice line into turn 2 there. And now they go side by side. Dennis Langrock, Oliver Nutt. But it looks like Dennis Langrock has gone past and Oliver Nutt will have to concede. He does seem to be still quietly quick despite that wing damage. Let's see how much it costs him through the fast sector. You see, yeah, you see the car going wide. It's not steering ideally. He will lose a bit of time, but will lose even more if he decides to go for an early pit stop. So he's hoping for an early safety car. As Gabriele Stella has really started to pick up more and more positions. Already up in P8 with Mouchard in P17. Picking up your first track limit time penalty. That is Alexi going over the right left-hander. That might cost them a little bit of time, and it looks like Epic Lexers made a mistake as well. That is a yellow in Sector 2. Sandro Poi is out. That's a virtual safety car. I'm not sure if that was because of what happened to Epic Lexer, but we have a virtual safety car. Epic's car seems fine. Aiden's still fine as well. But now, a big question, is Oliver Nutt going to be coming into the pits as a result of this virtual safety car? It will likely not be the only time we will see full course yellows here. To use a bit of an American term there, but looks like the drivers are still staying out. Nobody taking the risk yet to dive in. Yes, actually, it is Milena coming into the pit. So she started on the softs, immediately going to get rid of those. But to be honest, judging there might be more safety cars might not be the worst decision, but look at that, DRS has been re-enabled, so we'll still lose an awful lot of time, and the same goes for Richard. But yeah, he has, must have had another time penalty because nobody is touching that car, and it looks to be 10 seconds, and it might be for speeding in the pit lane. But we quickly go back to Oliver Nutt because he is getting closer and closer to Dennis Langrock despite that damage to his car, although he has to look in his rearview mirrors as well. Alexi Cavero not too far away from him. As here they continue now, heading in towards the first of the DRS zones. Gabriele Stella has just managed to get just without the DRS range. Let's see if Gabrielle has DRS here, but I don't think Gabrielle does, and that means that the drivers behind him will come a bit closer. The good news for him, Justin Chevalier is quite a bit off, but Pikarchik's getting awfully close to the back of that Red Bull's Epic Lexer. Picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Now can Pikarchik continue here? He needs to try and get an overtake done, but with that slipstream, he will get close. He darts towards the outside, is already gone past, but maybe a send on the inside by the Williams driver. It looks like Kevin West has decided against it. But a good run now down the start-finish straight might see him gain yet another position. Gabriele Stella has no DRS. Lewis Jones has lost the lead of the race. Oliver not actually down to P5. But here down the inside, your Aston Martin driver goes, and more drivers seem to follow. That is also tied, but Gabriele Stella stays ahead. The Red Bull car goes to now. Justin Chevalier still in 10th. F1 Racer starting to pick up some positions. But that was a little bit dicey up to the front. Oliver Nutt's actually down to P6 now. And I'm not sure if it's just me, but looks like that damage has gotten worse. And yeah, in that first sector, he's really struggling to keep it on track. Has gotten a 3-second time penalty for track limits now as well. Down into P7. So this is not the race that Oliver Nutt was looking forward to have. But this is pretty much his story for the season. Doing very, very well in qualifying session, but then not following up in the main race. Neither having that due to an issue, mistake of his own, or contact with other drivers that ends up costing him. As we now go towards F1 Racer, he is getting closer to the back of that other Red Bull. That is the one of Justin Chevalier fighting for a point here. As we now go on board with F1 Racer, Justin is quite far away from Gabrielle. So that might mean that F1 Racer has an opportunity. He's going to try and do it the long way round the outside. Can he outbrake the Red Bull driver? He's going to go side by side. He's going to go on the outside. Almost pushed into the wall there, but they leave each other just enough room. Now then, another slipstream. They will need to get close to Gabriel, as Oliver Knott has wisely decided to enter the pits. We have a yellow in Sector 3. Oliver Knott has retired. Oh no, that is so sad to see. It looks like he's decided to give up there. Might just be upset seeing that his race, well, realistically ended in the first corner with that front wing damage. That front wing end plate being gone there after contact with the back of Lewis Jones. Not sure if he misjudged when Lewis was going to brake, or if it was just too early, as we have a yellow in Sector 1. That, I believe, is it once again Epic Lexer? No, it is, it's the car of Oliver Knott, who was retiring, of course. So, nothing much going on there, but we're going to hop over to Dallin McTeer, who's starting to get closer to the Williams driver up at. Look at that, really eye in the back of that Williams. But he's losing a little bit of time due to the ERS usage from the driver up ahead. This is for a podium position though, with the race still being quite long. But look at that, he goes very wide there through your left right hander now, making your way down to the second DRS zone. Dallin really getting close to that Williams. The only US driver here in this tier is going to try and go around the outside. Almost gets sent into the wall there. That was not the best thing of the Williams driver. A little bit dangerous, but it does give Dallin a slightly better exit, but isn't enough with ERS to go past. He uses his overtake. He's now going to send it side by side. Dennis Langrog also goes for an overtake. Side by side they still go. There's a little bit of a touch, but no damage done. And Dallin McTeer is through and is now immediately towards the back of that Ferrari of Lewis Jones. And further down, looks like Gabriele Stella is the only one outside of that DRS window. Really needs to start picking up the pace a bit. But it looks like due to the fighting up ahead, Pikarchitz is being pushed back into his window as Meow's now overtaken DV19. And that is not a normal spot to do that in. So very well done by Meow with the overtake in the fast first sector here. Let's actually move over to one of our championship competitors. Here is Tim Tornimo, of course, on a different strategy. Will be extending his first stint as long as possible. But yeah, it will also be due to how the safety cars go. But look at that. Very good line. Heading into the first of the DRS zones. Actually getting so close to that Ferrari driver. That's a very daring move. But he gets it. He finds the smallest of gaps as he sends his way past F1 racer. Sick move by Tim. But now then, the next driver, that is for points, but should still look in his rearview mirrors, because here comes the Ferrari. Side by side they go. Ferrari on the outside, the kick on the inside. F1 racer tries to outbrake him. Still side by side they go. Leave each other just enough space, so well done by Tim on that end. But is there enough to get a slipstream? It looks like F1 Racer will be getting closer. He will move towards the inside. No, he decides against it. So he's going to let Tim Tornimo go. As Justin Chevalier picks up a time penalty for track limits. That already gifts Tim one position. Be a 10th for him with DV19 and 6. Does seal the deal for DV19. As long as he's a couple positions ahead of Tim, there's nothing to worry for. And as long as Tim does not finish in top 3, it is championships hope over as well. Perhaps his offset strategy might come into play later down the line. In the meantime, though, Meow is starting to pick up the pieces as well, as we have yellow in Sector 3. That's a retirement for Mushar. He's had a bit of an unlucky appearance here in Jeddah. Qualifying, quite a bit of track limits. Couple penalties picked up. This would have been his second pit stop, and he's decided to retire his car. But look at that. Here comes Meow then, already flying past the Williams. And he now needs to make sure he stays within DRS range, but I think he managed to. And indeed he does have DRS, so he will be able to stay close with the drivers up ahead. And we have another yellow. Oh, that is a full safety car. Matteo Blotto has put it out of the race. Let's see if we can find where his car is at. Oh, that's in the wall there. That's a very unconventional point to be in the wall there. It must have been contact. I don't see anyone losing the car there out on their own. But now then, what are the drivers going to do? Is everyone going to come in? Everyone is going to come into the pit lane. Oh, is that an overtake? That's an overtake by Justin Chevalier and Kevin West in the pit lane. That is a great move. But now that... Oh no, this is horrible for Tim. Gabrielle is up ahead. Tim will have to wait until his teammate is done stopping. This will cost Tim some positions. He was in P11. He's going to lose 2 positions as a result. But he's also lost... Yeah, he's lost one to Pikarczyk. Also F1 Racer and Aiden. But he's gained one on Milena, I think. Oh no, Milena took an earlier pit stop. I think Pikarczyk might have fallen down the order slightly. Justin has actually picked up 2 positions. But we now have your safety car. It looks like Lewis Jones has been picked up by the safety car already. But we've had a very chaotic start to the race here. This is lap 8. We've had 1 virtual safety car after a crash by Alessandro Poi. And now with Matteo Blotto putting it into the wall as well, we have our first safety car of the session. And yeah, Tim already asking, did you have to crash? Not really playing into his strategy, because he is now onto the mediums. Yes, 17 laps on the mediums. That seems to be a no-go. So Tim will be hoping for yet another safety car, so his strategy will work out. The good news for all the other drivers is that they have fulfilled the tire regulations, meaning they do not need to stop if not necessary. Meaning that all the hard runners, so everyone... except Gabriela Stella, Justin Chevalier, Tim Tornimo, and Milena are good to go. As Milena's actually gone an overtake to Epic and has given that back. Not something you should do too often on the safety car. Be careful, Milena. It gives us a little bit of time, not to zoom in, but to look at the penalties. 2 drivers with penalties. The other drivers that had penalties have retired. We see Justin Chevalier, it's gone 3 for track limits. And so does Epic Lexer down in P14. Let's have a little bit of a poll in the chat. How many safety cars do you guys think we're going to get tonight? This is your first. Likely not the only one. But how many more will we see? Let me know. See, drivers already warming up their tires because it looks to be the final lap behind the safety car before we will resume here. So let's quickly take us all through the current order with positions gained and lost in the screen. So, on the screen. So it's Lewis Jones still in the race lead, followed by Dennis Langrock, who's gained 1. Dallin McTeer 2 up. Meow also 2 up. Lexi Cavero down by 1. DV19 up 1 position, P6. Gabriel Stella up 4. Really good strategy by him, but also one of the runners who was on the hards is now on mediums. And it's Justin Chevalier in 8th. 6 positions gained for Kevin West. He's currently residing in P9. P10 for Pikarczyk. Then it's F1 Racer. 8 and 12 is Milena. Oh, a severe collision with Epic Lexer. What has happened there? Is that damage for Milena? That is very, very uncommon to see. An incident behind... Oh, that was some parts coming off the car, but that might have been Epic Lexer who's made contact with Tim Tornimo. Is there damage to the front? Oh, Epic Lexer's lagged out. That is what's going on. But he has indeed lost the front wing end plate. So damage for Epic Lexer. That didn't seem to be because of the contact with Milena. But yeah, perhaps a penalty that might be protested by Milena later on. And here we go. Safety car in this lap. So as soon as we head into lap 10, we will resume this race here around the streets of Jeddah. Lewis Jones still leading the race. Now, of course, the most ideal moment is to start just before turn 27. Get a good exit. And he should go now. Oh, he dares to wait a little bit longer. Going for an awful late move. And there he goes. But Dennis Langrock was awake, but even more so was Dallin McTeer. We see some drivers come into the pits. That's Epic Lexer. But here then, Dallin McTeer. Oh, it's actually Alexi Covero who gets past Meow. The F1 racer getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And it is... Well, F1 racer still fighting himself. Well, actually in P10 now. It's gone past Pikarczyk as the race now has resumed with Justin Chevalier. Yeah, he's now on a quicker tire. So is Gabriele Stella. So is Tim Tornimo. So they need to dispatch some drivers as quickly as possible. Justin Chevalier, very risky there. He's wheel bagging together with Gabriele Stella. Tried to send it down the inside. There's contact with DV19. And as your championship leader, sent back a couple places. Now down to P8. That is something he will definitely protest because that was not a clean move from Justin whatsoever. But should be thankful there is no damage to his cars. In the meantime, Tim Tornimo has gone up into P11. Let's go on board with Tim because now he needs to make his way up the order as quick as he can and get past DV19. Remember, he needs to finish in the top 3 to keep his championship hopes alive. Needs to outscore his rival by 14 points here tonight. So here we go then, around the outside. We're very close. Actually move around the outside F1 racer. Great job by Tim. Now next target, Kevin West. DRS has been enabled. A little bit of lag coming in there as well. That will not help Tim Tornimo at all, with F1 racer being so close to him. Will there be a move down the inside? There won't be one. So nothing that he has to worry about just for the time being. So we are going to move up further up the field where Lewis Jones is feeling the hot air. The hot air coming out of Dennis Langrock's mouth. A little bit, well, not necessarily much of a breeze, but he's losing a little bit of time in that first sector. No longer breathing down his neck, although the gaps stay close as they are. And with DRS coming into play in a moment, if the gap stays as it is, we might see him move up the order a little bit more as Tim Tornimo has gone past Kevin West and now sets his targets on his championship rival. Now, I assume DV19 will defend very fierce because this is also one of those races. If it ends in tears, DV19 is your champion. So he can defend for what he's worth. Likely will do so as well. I don't foresee contact between the drivers on the cars, but here we see Tim Tornimo already gaining on DV19. Will likely gain extra time here in the braking zone. Gains quite significantly, but is it enough to go for an overtake? Here we go, gap 3/10. Tim Tornimo getting closer, using a little bit of that ERS. Is able to get awfully close. Is going to make a move down the inside. Is going to outbrake DV19 and gets past. Now behind his teammate Tim Tornimo in P8 as Dennis Langrock has managed to clear Lewis Jones, and that gap now almost a second. Needs to try and up that before the next DRS zone and he might be gone. But Dallin McTeer was under pressure by Alexi, but Alexi did not get past. And it looks like Lewis is just a little bit quicker in that first sector, not allowing him to get away with Epic Lexer, picking up another time penalty. Looks like he might be retiring in a moment's notice because it's not going the way he wanted. 2 pit stops already, 6 seconds extra time added, and 20 seconds down on the entire field. Unless, of course, we see a safety car. I don't see any hopes for Epic Lexer to get back into that race. As in the meantime, Meow is getting close to the back of Gabriele Stella. Now the drivers up ahead, the 2 drivers up ahead are on mediums. Meow finds himself in the hards, lost the positions to them earlier on in this stint. But as longer as the stint continues, the easier it becomes for Meow to overtake because his tire that was the worst tire at the start is now slowly but surely becoming the better tire. Look at that, Tim Tornimo down the inside with a daring move! Almost contact between the two, and we have a safety car. Wait, what? No, we don't? Okay. I really hate the graphics at times in this game. But yeah, Meow's been overtaken. Tim Tornimo's gone up into P7. Not sure why that has suddenly appeared, because no driver's gone off nor retired. Saw a little bit of a moment for Gabriele Stella that will allow Tim Tornimo to get closer. Lewis Jones has actually gone back into the race lead. Has cleared Dennis Langrock. Look at that, Gabriella Stella looking towards the inside. The Williams driver is going to send it down the inside of Alexi and has gone past. Great job by him. And with that move now being done, opens up the door for Tim Tornimo to have his say on it as well. Gets awfully close into that first DRS zone, has a better exit, knows he needs to clear him quickly, and will do so straight away. Tim Tornimo up in P6, really starting to progress along the line, with Gabriella Stella also close to Justin Chevalier. Kevin West, meanwhile, picking up position against Pekarčić. He's in P11. As Tim is starting to close in on his teammate once more. But yeah, now the gap's further up ahead, being so much closer, means it will be more and more difficult for Tim Tornimo to get by. Although a good run down on that final corner might work out for him well. We're going to see how the leader of the race does it. Dennis Langrock has gone that from Lewis Jones. Lewis is now going to go down the outside. We almost have 6 people fighting. So we have a yellow in Sector 3. We have a virtual safety car now. And that's Epic Lexer. Epic Lexer finds himself out of the... is there damage? Is there damage? I can't see for sure, but the virtual safety... yeah, there's damage. That's a front wing gone. And I would expect Epic Lexer is going to retire it in the pit lane. But that little bit of action did cause the fight around the top to simmer down a little bit and keep the top 6 at least intact. For DV19, that means he has actually gotten past Meow and now makes his way up into P8, with Tim Tornimo in P6, still in potential championship winning position here. But the safety car, the virtual safety car, is about to end, and then we resume. See how well Lewis can time this. It's still almost up to full speed. It's very weird to judge sometimes. It looks like they're going flat out. DRS is enabled. Yes, here we go. So race has resumed. Look at that. Immediately, 2 drivers are going to make their moves here. Dallin McTeer moves into the race lead, but he will find some cars passing him on the straight once more. Let's see how Tim Tornimo can fare, because he is the driver we need to keep an eye on together with DV19. And we can see the fight up ahead also nicely. 6-10 separating the top 5. Lewis Jones come back at Dallin McTeer. Dennis Langrock gonna go down the inside as well. Dallin McTeer losing an awful lot of time as a result. There will be... oh, there's a lot of contact! A lot of contact! Tim Tornimo gets caught up in that as well. Oh, he lost a front wing end plate. There's more and more contact. DV19 is in 3rd. Justin Chevalier is out. We have another virtual safety car, but that was out down to the very, very odd sends into turn 1, and it was almost impossible to get through. And with Dennis Langrock, it was... yeah, it must have been Justin Chevalier, and then I believe it was Gabriella Stella being also close to one another. Making sure... no, it was Dallin McTeer. Dallin McTeer has dropped down to P12, so he's been involved with that contact. His car must have damage as well. Pekarčić has lost his front wing. Dallin McTeer's lost the front wing end plate. Meow, he just pitted, but has front wing end plate damage. Pick Lexer not being too happy about what happened, but yeah, he had a little bit of de-sync issues, but we will likely be coming back into pits. But this could potentially be a championship ending move for Tim Tornimo, even though it was none of his fault. He was just boxed up between cars, had nowhere to go, and with the front wing end plate gone, and not a full safety car either, despite the safety car being on track. Lewis Jones is going to come in. All the drivers are going to come in now. I think we do have a full safety car, despite the game not telling us. But yeah, once again, Tim Tornimo sees Gabriella Stella ahead of him in the pit lane. What does this mean? This means that he once again will have to wait, and he also needs to change his front wing. Tim Tornimo will be exiting the pit likely in about P10 or 11. Oh, Gabriella Stella also had damage. Oh no. There they come. The front wing goes off. Tim Turnimo down in 10th. More and more drivers coming out. Will stay in 10th at least. But that's horrid for Tim, who is making his way up nicely. But now has to start all over again. Meow has gone for the softs. Needs to make those last for a whopping 9 laps. Milena has stayed out on the mediums. I guess Milena is hoping for yet another safety car. But this is turning in quite the eventful race. And for one who's working out nicely for his DV19, he's in P3. And in this position, will take the title regardless of what happens. Even if Tim Turnimo wins, a P3 will be enough to take the title here tonight. So he's in championship winning position here. And even if he loses one position, will still take the title. Have a little bit of time to recover from all that happened. The graphics, as Pepin mentions, definitely glitched out. Still says virtual safety car, even though we have a full safety car. We had a safety car earlier on that was actually just full green. So, very, very confusing here all the way through. But we're about to enter the end of lap 16 and the start of lap 17. Will be 9 laps still to go, counting lap 25, of course, as well. But the safety car, I think, will be coming in at the end of the next lap. So as soon as lap 18 hits, we will go racing once more. And it will be Milena leading the field, although she does have penalties to her name. She has 10 seconds worth of penalties, 3 seconds for F1 Racer. But that makes me wonder why Milena hasn't come into the pit. Milena needs to serve this penalty. And, well, realistically, without it, well, even with the safety car, you'd be dropped down to the back of the field. I'm not sure what Milena's thinking here with that time penalty to her name. Yeah, we will see how it goes, I guess. Maybe he's expecting to get some... well, there was contact. What was it? No, wait a minute. This is the penalty Milena got for that contact with Epic Lexer. But the contact with Epic Lexer was due to lagging. I think Milena feels she can get this penalty removed and might be able to make it all the way to the end on this set of tires. Of course, with the drivers behind on 1 lap old mediums, herself being on 9 lap old mediums, will not be able to defend that race lead, seemingly. But that will at least help her out score some nice points. So that is likely why Milena is staying out. Yeah, we see Epic Lexion also type in the chat, had 7 seconds screen freeze. We saw you teleporting back a little bit. It's very, very sad to see that happening to you, but hopefully you'll have a nice season finale next week when we go to Suzuka. But we are about to head into the 3rd sector, and then we're going to see safety car in this lap, and then we will resume. So very... Oh, looks like Meow's come in. Aiden's actually done so as well. So he's now on softs. I think about 8 laps. He might be able to make that last. See, now we go back to safety car. Alright, let's see if the glitches go away. Let's see if Milena starts a little bit sooner. Remember, it will be most ideal to start early, especially with the gap that she has to DV19, not to Lewis Jones, but go early and you will have a gap. Milena goes late. Now goes Lewis Jones fairly close. Justin Chevalier leaves the session. Might be able to keep Lewis Jones behind at least for the first corner. Alexi Guerrero's gone past. Oh, goes for a full send onto Gabriela Stella. Almost contact there coming out of turn 2s and 3. Looks like Gabriela Stella is behind Alexi and he's made up some positions once more. For Tim Turnimo, he's currently in P9. We'll need to make up more and more places as Lewis Jones is getting so close to the back of that Haas, almost touching it. As he now wants to make a move down the inside. Don't go too quick, Lewis. Don't risk it too early. You have the car. You have the speed. And the driver up ahead is on all tires. We saw the safety car graph flick again. It looks like Dallin McTeer is fighting with Aiden. And Pikarczyk was trying to make some moves as well. But now then, Lewis Jones. Perhaps a moment here. Just to draw a little bit closer. There's a little bit of ERS usage. Still has it set to medium. But yeah, here we can see the difference in tires. Molina's tires are starting to wear out. Now Lewis Jones, will he be able to go for the move just before turn 27? Or will we wait until the start-finish straight? Takes a wider turn. Much better exit than Molina. That's due to the fresher tires. Now going to make it side by side. And will breeze past Molina, retaking the race lead. Here comes DV19. He will now be going to the... Oh, almost to the outside. Molina defending very harshly there. And does keep DV19 behind for the time being. Gabriel Estella in a big fight with F1 Racer in turn. And Tim Tornemo still looking to get past the Mercedes. Kevin West up ahead. Here we are then. Here is Tim Tornemo. Needs to make up an awful lot of positions if he wants to keep that championship hope alive. Did not have an ideal first sector there, and then down the inside comes Pikarczyk. Keep it tight there. Ooh, fully sends it down into the corner. Thankfully not a late send by Pikarczyk because that could have ended in tears. But Tim keeps it clean for a time being with DV19 all over the back of Molina. Look at that. Lewis Jones has cleared Molina by over a second. This is great news for Lewis Jones. DV19, it's very close with Molina. There's a little bit of contact, but no damage dealt as a result. DV19's gone past, and he will now be trying to reel in DV19. Will he have DRS here? He does have DRS here, and that might be his lifesaver, as Molina is now starting to drop down the order more and more despite having some DRS there. Dennis Lagerrock gets past DV19. Molina still trying to send down the inside. Oh, contact with Gabriel Estella. But that was all Gabriel's doing. And now then, with the slower driver up ahead, the driver on the older tires, will that play into the hands of Tim Tornemo? Is going to try and make it towards the inside. See the drivers up ahead fight. But Tim can only gain one position, and that is the position gained on Molina. We stay on board with Tim. DV19 has now dropped momentarily to P4. Still enough to take the title. But Tim Tornemo needs to pick up more and more positions. Like we said, needs to finish in the top 3. Ideally needs to win the race here tonight. Has had a string of 6 straight podiums. But that might come to a dramatic end here in Jeddah. Not the best of corners there, but he will use the overtake now. Needs to get close to that Ferrari up ahead. Will not close the gap down just yet, but perhaps next sector. Now then, another opportunity. Molina, another time penalty for her in P9. Here comes Tim Tornemo. Needs to get past 1, perhaps past 2, as his teammate is up ahead, but his teammate is covering him off. Tim Tornemo around the outside of F1 Racer. They keep it clean. They keep it tidy. Tim Tornemo up in P7 almost, but they still go side by side. There's no way to go for Tim with his teammate being up ahead there. And that will allow the Ferrari driver to pass. There's contact. Contact with Tim Tornemo. A little bit of a slide, but no damage dealt to one another. And Tim Tornemo has gone past F1 Racer. That's good news for him. And further up ahead, Dennis Lagerrock currently leading the race. Molina now is DNF'd. She's crashed out. Will that be a safety car? We are in lap 21. This is right around the cusp of the race ending. But seeing that everything stays clear, looks like we're not going to have a safety car. And we will be racing all the way to the end despite what may happen on track. We have 7 drivers retired so far. And that means that if you do finish here tonight, you're very likely to pick up some points here. It's Kevin West now really getting close to DV19. Might spoil the dream of DV. But for now, DV is in prime position ahead of Tim. That is enough, so doesn't need to fight it. But we'll still fight it, of course. There is still glory on the line for this race. Kevin West gonna try and go towards the inside. Oh, DV19 almost in the back of Alexi. That cost DV a couple of positions. Now down in P6. But Tim Tornimo behind is already eyeing him. Here he goes then. Down the inside. Is side by side. Gaining a lot of time on his teammate as well. But his teammate staying ahead of Tim so far. Tim has cleared DV19, so is now ahead. That is slightly better, but still needs more and more positions, and that will not be easy to take. Lap 22 of 25. We're getting closer and closer to getting closure on whether the championship will be decided tonight or if it goes to the WOR next week. And now with that last sip in my throat, we will be good to go to take it all the way through to the end as we are watching Kevin West get closer to that Williams driver. This will be one of the better results for Kevin West in this season. But can he get close enough? That is a very good live left-hander, and he is all over the back of that Williams. Use a little bit of here as he's on hot lap mode. He's using all he can. They're saving up ahead. Oh, that is a late move by the Williams driver. Almost contact with the Ferrari driver up ahead, but this could be good for Kevin. Slipstream both, and then make it down the inside. Needs to go fully left. There is space. There is space. But a wise decision not to go for it there. Does mean that he has a kick Sauber down on his inside. They will go side by side, but he has the inside line there. Will not concede. Pushes him a little bit wide, but that is not due to his fault. Had that position there. They're still side by side, actually. And Tim Tornimo is getting in the fight. Tim Tornimo has gone through. They both managed to clear Kevin West. A very, very daring move by Gabriella, although that overtake did not seem to be all too legal. Now DV19 wants to go round the outside of Wells. Pekarczyk picks up a penalty. Awfully close to the wall they are. But DV19 has managed to clear Kevin West. So where Kevin West was just eyeing for a podium, he's now down to P7. And hopes for podiums slowly seem to be fading away. And for DV19 still sees his championship rival up ahead. And Tim Tornimo, he's past Gabriel Stella. He's now up in P4. He needs just a little bit more. But he's picking off drivers one by one, doing so at a very nice pace. That is awfully aggressive, defending onto his teammate. Really needs to make sure he doesn't do that. But for now, no contact, no further contact, and no more crashes. Lap 24 then, 2 laps still to go. Around the outside comes Gabriela Stella. Really trying to push Tim to the wire. But that little bit of squabbling does mean that Gabriela Stella is about to be overtaken by DV19. Will he still have the line though? DV19 had to back out of it though. And it looks like he has indeed, still in P6. But for Tim, that means he needs to win the race if DV stays in this position. A race win will be enough for him. Gabriel sees DV on the outside now. Side by side they go. Keep it clean here. DV19 wants to stay there, but can't just. As Tim Tornimo is starting to close in on the drivers up ahead. Has some good racing lines, but needs to get the race win here tonight, like I mentioned. If he manages to take that race win in extremis, and he does push that championship fight onto next week, and the drivers up ahead are also close. There might be an opportunity for Tim to clear 2 here, but he needs to do so quickly. Dennis Langrock and Alexi Cavero fighting. Lewis Jones is a little bit further ahead. Tim now needs to position himself nicely. DV19's far away. Round the outside, Tim can go! Almost loses it. That is not the way to start your final lap, but keeps it for now. Tim Tornimo then. Time to close in. DV19 not too far away either. We are in our final lap, guys. The final lap of this Jeddah Grand Prix. Down the inside goes Alexi Cavero. Tim Tornimo wants to clear. Ooh, there's a little bit of touching going on with the Racing Bull. Tim Tornimo is still in P4, needs to win this race, like I mentioned, or he will be out of contention, and we will crown a champion in DV19 as the Williams driver currently leads. He's ahead of Lewis Jones, who's done a superb job all the way throughout tonight, deserving of this race win for sure, but shattering others' hopes and dreams in the process. DV19 now also getting closer to the back of Tim Tornimo, but we're going to stay on board with Tim Tornimo. He needs to clear all drivers up ahead. That was a little brush with the wall. He's saved up a lot of ERS. He's going to use that all in the final 2 bits, using a little bit now to draw closer. There's caution in Sector 1, that's Pikarczyk. He is going to be out. But now then, Tim Tornimo using the ERS at his disposal. Needs to get Dennis Langrock here and then get the rest on the start-finish straight. Will it be enough for Tim? Needs to send it down the inside. Will Mika move down the inside? A late step by. Oh, the Racing Bull. This is good for Tim. A moment for Lewis Jones. Is it enough for Tim Tornimo? No, there's enough ERS for Lewis. Lewis Jones gets the race win. DV19 and P5. DV19 is your Tier 4 champion. But that got so close for Tim Tornimo at the end. Almost getting the race win there. That would have pushed it to a championship decider next week, even by just a point. But that 1/10 is enough for Lewis Jones to take the race win and to end Tim Tornimo's championship hopes. It is Lewis Jones that takes the top step tonight, but DV19 finishing in P4 is your WOR PCT4 champion of Season 18. Wow, what a final few laps that were. A late send by Dennis Langrock. That allowed Tim to get 2. Lewis almost bidding it in the final turn. And it was so close for Tim Tornimo. He does keep his podium streak alive, now with 7 podiums straight, this time a 2nd place. But the points, he will only gain 6 on DV19, and with 6 points gained, that means the gap goes from 34 to 28, and with 1 race to go, that is now over. It is DV19 your champion, but the results for here: Lewis Jones picks up the race win ahead of Tim Tornimo and Dennis Langrock. Then it's DV19, your champion, ahead of Meow, Gabriel Estelle in P6. Then it's Alan McTeer, Kevin West, F1 racer, and rounding off your point scorers, Aiden in P10. Then we have Pikarczyk, Alexei. Ooh, why did he end there? That might not be accurate. I think Alexei was in P4. But we will hear about that later. Melina then, DNF together with Justin Chevalier, Epiat Lexer, Matteo Blotto, Mouchouar, Oliver Knott, and Alessandro Poi. But as I mentioned, despite Lewis getting that race win here tonight, we have crowned the champion here. It might still be provisionally, but seeing that DV19 was not involved with any of the moments, he will take the title here tonight. And he is your PC Tier 4 champion. What a way to do it. It seemed like Tim almost managed to steal it in the final turn, but it was just not enough. But all the way through for DV19, a stellar season with that P4. I think it was P5 though, but if the P4 stays, that ties his worst result of the season that he finished. Of course, beside that DNF in Imola. But an amazing season for DV19, and I think full on deserved that he gets the title here tonight. But in the meantime, we are getting ready for the interviews. Let us know in the chat if you have any questions for any other drivers. We will move in Tim Tornimo first, and then we'll have an interview with our champion, DV19. So there we go. Finally worked. We have in our commentary box, 2nd in the standings, also 2nd in this race, also close to taking that race win tonight. It's Tim Tornimo.
Yep. That's me.
That must have been a roller coaster of a race for you tonight. First of qualifying, definitely not going according to plan there. What happened in quali?
Um, so my second lap, I just lost. I think I lost like 5 tenths on the lap, which would have put me around top 3. And then on the second, or I mean, my last run, I just spun into the wall, and I was qualifying over.
Yeah, qualifying definitely not going according to plan. And we had an early safety car. And, well, actually, during both of the safety car sessions, we saw your teammate was up ahead, meaning you had to wait a little bit extra in the pit box. But we had a little unfortunate moment, I believe it was on the virtual safety car restart just after the first safety car, where you got a little bit of wing damage. What happened there?
Um, well, no, I got the wing damage when there was a big pileup into turn 2. But yeah, I just got
Yeah, saw
caught
that.
in the incident really, and then the double stack with the teammate switching wing as well. It put me back to the grid a lot.
Yeah, put you down the grid a lot. It looked like it was all over from there, but you managed to get your way down up the order. You were in P4 heading into the final corner. You must have thought nothing is going to be possible there, and all of a sudden you were fighting for that race win.
Yeah, I mean, my quali will my quali has never been good, so I was thinking maybe start on the hards and just be quick in the end, but and the safety cars and the double stack ruined me. But I never thought I'd have the chance to win there. But I was gonna maybe get the podium there on Dennis until the big crash last lap. But yeah, I mean for sure I'll take a podium. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, it's still a very nice podium. Means you're going to continue your podium streak. This was 6 races in a row. It's now 7 races in a row.
Yeah.
But sadly, because you finished in P2, I thought DV19 finished in P5. It was classified as P4. But that means, due to you not winning the race here tonight, that the gap now with 1 race to go is insurmountable, meaning that you can no longer overtake DV19, but also behind you, nobody is in a position to overtake you, so it looks like you have finished second in the standings here.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Coming into the season, my first 3 races, just 8 points, but I never ever thought I was gonna even have the chance for this. So I'm really grateful for um, this season. I think it's been an amazing fight with Dustin and Gabrielle, and also Racer, and then obviously Lewis Jones, who's got some really nice pace here and then. So it's been fun fighting with these guys. I think we've kept it clean every race, no incidents between us.
No, it indeed looked very clean between the drivers of you. Of course, it was very unfortunate that you got caught into some wing damage towards the end stage of the race, but you managed to fight back very, very well. Very close again that race win, but I think overall you've had a really, really good race here tonight.
Yep, I'm happy, and I'll take my P2 in the standings.
Very good to hear. Well, thank you very much for joining me into the commentary box. Hopefully we'll see you one more time in the commentary box, completing that full-on streak of podiums, because you have one more race in Japan, so hopefully see you then.
Yep.
Alright, that was an interview with your man in P2, and it looks like we have 2 more drivers waiting in Dennis Langrock and DV19. We'll first move in Dennis Langrock, and then we'll move on to your championship winner. So first up then, we have Dennis Langrock getting also close to even a race win here tonight. But that was quite a breathtaking race.
Yeah, that was incredible. Oh my god, the last laps were so crazy. Just unbelievable.
Well, before we dive into that, let's first go to qualifying session. Qualifying was good.
Yeah, it was good. I was P2, I think. Was close to Oliver, but on my last run, I bottled it a little bit. I got in the first turn 100s up, and then I've got a really, really good lap. I was on a PB, but then I bottled it into the wall. Yeah, but P1 is not always the best position in the grid, so P3 was not bad.
Yeah, and then of course throughout the race we had 2 times the virtual safety car, 2 times the safety cars. How did that affect your race?
It affected me quite a little bit because I was always not first. I was second or third. Then I was watching what Luis is doing, and yeah, a little bit tricky with the last safety car. I think we switched to mediums. Yeah, but we done always right, and yeah, congrats to DV19 too, because he got world champion.
Yes, that is very true, and we will have a word with him later on. But for now, I still want to ask you about those final few laps, because that was also close. You had a very late send into the final corner. That caused quite a bit of mayhem. How did that go?
Yeah, that was really tricky because Gabriele or Tim, I don't know, one NRR guy, was quite behind me and would go for move. And the Williams in front of me was braking, I think, a little bit earlier too. And then it's maybe crashed, but nothing happened. And yeah, it's quite good because I need to defend against the NRR guy. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Tim was indeed behind you, so you put it into the inside. You made a little bit of contact with the Williams driver. We saw Lewis have a snap oversteer into the final corner as well.
Yeah, but GG's to Luis. We've managed good over the race. Maybe with DRS trains we fight a little bit, that I don't understand, but it's quite okay. We've managed good race, and GG's to all the guys. Was good fighting.
Quickly moving over to the standings, looking at those. You had 20 points prior to this race. You're going to add a lovely 15 points to that. So that's going to move you up to about P10 in the standings, I believe. There's one race still to go. Anything that you're hoping to still achieve this season?
Maybe I can go for, I don't know, I didn't watch, but maybe P5 is possible. I don't know. But I was very unlucky this season. Got taken out so many times, lost many points. Now the performance is here, and we try for the next race. Once I was pretty good too last time. Yeah.
Well, let's hope we can have you once more in the commentary box for an interview next week in Japan. And just for you to know, P6 will be the max that you can still get in the standings. You can still leapfrog Pasi, who's currently on 46 points.
Pasi, my teammate? Okay. Yeah, I will do my best.
Sounds good, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for joining us into the commentary box, and well, hopefully see you soon again.
Thank you very much for commentating our tier. Thank you.
No worries.
Have a good night. Bye bye.
You too. Good night. And then it is time to bring in your champion, your season 18 champion. 3 race wins to his name so far, with a total of 6 podiums as well. He is here waiting for us in the commentary box. And waiting for us is no other than Dustin Vincent, your WOR PC Tier 4 Season 18 Champion of the World.
Oh my god. I couldn't quite realize it until like 2 minutes or 3 minutes ago. I was calculating all the time. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was the shittiest race this whole season from my side, and it was enough.
That must have been horrible to drive. There was quite a few moments where it was very close with you and another driver that could have ended in heartbreak. You kept it all the way together, no damage through, so much going on throughout the session. And then with the fights happening in the final corner, Tim almost getting the race win. That would have kept the title fight alive had he gotten the win.
Yeah, I know. I think I got P5 or P4 at the end.
Yeah, you were classified as P4, but I thought you crossed the line in 5th. I think there was something with one of the Williams drivers.
Yeah, I think so too. So I was definitely in 5th, I thought maybe one got a penalty or something, or maybe he slowed down a little bit. I didn't really know. So hearing from you guys that I'm the champion was the ultimate confirmation, and I'm so happy. You guys don't know what happened last week. My PC broke, my water cooler broke, and today a new cooler arrived, and so the only practice I had was like an hour before the race, or maybe 1.5. And yeah, it was so annoying the whole last week. It was just fucked up. Sorry. Maybe now I have to do some community service, but for swearing, but
don't worry, I don't think Cody's will mind.
yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, there's
Oh
of
my
course
God.
so much to talk about, but I don't think we should be talking all too much about that race. I think we should be talking about the amazing season that you've had. We of course had that amazing first race in Australia that you won by the slightest of margins, 1,000th of a second. You had 3 race wins throughout the season so far, 6 podiums altogether, with a worst finishing position in 4th with 1 DNF in Monza. You've been consistent throughout the season. You've had so many issues, as you mentioned, in that last week, and that must only make this title taste that much sweeter.
Yeah, and also Monza, the DNF I had was just because PC issues, because the DDR5 broke down. So this season, it could have been way worse from the results, but it couldn't have been any worse PC wise. So it was so exhausting. It was so annoying. It was just maybe the most consistent season I've ever driven, but also the most annoying in terms of what happened beside the racing itself. So, oh my goodness. I can't believe it.
That makes the title story all that more difficult, and you managed to take the title here already with 1 race still to go. We still have a race in Japan. It must be amazing to drive next week out, knowing that you already have the title in the bag.
Yeah, if it's possible, I'm gonna make a golden helmet for myself. And I will enjoy Japan a lot because it's one of my best, maybe my best track, and I'm aiming to finish the season on a high. And yeah. Oh my God. Guys, thank you so much for commentating the whole season.
That is all good. And then before we round off the interview tonight, is there anything that you want to say to the people watching you, perhaps even in your own language?
First of all, in English, thanks for commentating. Thanks for doing all the streams. Thanks for doing the whole stuff with the standings. And yeah, I really don't know what to say. And in my own language, ich hab's geschafft. Finally, ich hab's geschafft. This is my second title I got in league racing. I got F4 champion on PlayStation like 2 years ago. No, like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years ago, late in 2021. I didn't win a race in the whole 23 game, and the whole season, like starting with a win by 1,000th of a second, starting the whole game with a win was crucial. And yeah, GG's to Tim. I think he's like 13 years old or 14 years old. So there's still a lot of potential, and I think we will see him in higher tiers competing for wins. And if he improves like he did over the season, we will maybe see him in tier 3 at the front, maybe even tier 2. Wish him the best of luck also. And yeah, to Gabriele Pratesi, who unfortunately left and departed from T4. It was unfortunate, but it made my life a whole lot easier to compete for the championship, because I really think Gabriele was the fastest guy over one lap, and if it wasn't him making many mistakes and driving way too aggressive in most of times, I think it would have been his championship. So I'm here. I'm really, really happy to have it, and thanks for everything, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you as well. Those were some very, very kind words to your competitors. And indeed, as you just said it in your own words, du hast es wirklich geschafft. But I think we can only say it. We can only say it better in the words of Sebastian Vettel, and it is Du bist Weltmeister.
Oh yeah, geil. Oh my God, you guys are legends. You are funking legends.
Well done.
Oh my goodness.
So many congratulations coming out to you. We, of course, still have a race next week in Japan around Suzuka. I hope you enjoyed us as much throughout, and hopefully we'll see you one final time in the commentary box this season.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dankeschön.
Alright, and with that we round off our interviewing session with, of course, a very, very delighted champion in the name of DV19, Dustin Vincent, who's managed to take the title in 10 out of the 11 rounds, with a 5th place around Jeddah being enough to take that title. 31 points now is his lead over Tim Tornimo, and that gap is too much to overcome for his rival. And that means for tonight as well, we're going to end the stream here. We will be back next week for our season finale, where we will still see some good fights, and perhaps Lewis Jones make his way up into 3rd in the standings. But yeah, as always, some great races that we can expect to happen here at WRPC Tier 4. So tune in again next week. That will be once more at 8 p.m. British Standard Time, 9 p.m. for us Europeans. And we'll see you the season finale in Japan. See you there.